Happy Thanksgiving from the Riccatoni family. We are here. We are back. I got my little brother, Cody. I got my dad. First and foremost, you guys can follow them. Cody, plug your channel.
I actually don't know what the channel name is because I switched it to just Cody.
I'll put it in my bio. And Dad, you.
Cleveland Food 25 on Instagram.
It's the best food channel that you'll ever find on Instagram. And what do we got going on right now in the smoker? Off to the side here.
We have a turkey that a 10-pound turkey. It's very small, but we're smoking it. We have one in the oven in the house.
I'd like to talk turkey.
We're talking turkey, but okay, so we're going to talk real quick. It's going to be a short, dirty one since the holidays, but we got Broncos-Browns coming up on the road trip in Denver. We have Cleveland as an underdog, actually, in this game. So the Broncos are a 1.5-point favorite.
Crazy.
Going into it with DTR second star, obviously, the Broncos are on the come up. Their defense is much better since the 70-point blowout that they had, but it's looking that it's going to be a battle. Dad, you saw all of those Broncos-Browns feuds in the 80s. How you feeling going into this one? And give us a little bit reflection on what that means. Kind of, it's not a real rivalry, but there's a lot of historical bad blood, I guess.
Well, considering the fact that was in the 80s, I'm still scarred, and I've been in therapy, and it still hasn't worked out. But I'm hoping that the Browns can get past this. Russell Wilson is on the up and up right now, and he's doing his, what's that thing he says?
Broncos country.
Yeah.
Broncos country. That's right.
Yeah, just for that alone, they need to kill him. But
Can I talk offense too?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the biggest thing I'm excited for, honestly, is I'm excited to see DTR's progression to this week. Some people weren't super encouraged by his performance last week, but honestly, I mean, he's had 2 starting games.
drive.
Yeah, the drive was amazing. He had one, his first game against the Baltimore Ravens. He had an hour to know he was going to start. And then, to come out and do what he did against the Steelers, which is another incredible defense. I don't know, just the AFC North, all the defenses are great. He's only had that experience, playing against. So I'm excited to see against, a weaker defense. I mean, without those, few drops, he would have had over 200 yards and, to your point, a 75% completion rating. So I just feel like this week is going to be big for his progression. And I just hope he continues to get more comfortable and kind of starts to hit his stride. Mm-hmm. It's nice knowing we have Joe Flacco as well, in case things go south. I don't foresee that happening, but I'm excited. It's just good to add a veteran presence in the locker room.
Yeah, very well said. And yeah, let's talk about the Joe Flacco edition. Obviously, we saw Flacco run Cleveland. I think it was something he was 28-3 against the Browns in his career. It was something ridiculous, right? On that level. But he was clearly a guy, I think he can add a lot in terms of helping DTR. He's a guy who wasn't lighting the world on fire, played with a great defense in that 2012 season, but then just went on a tear.
Managed the football.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, Dad, what do you think he's going to add to a young 24-year-old, highly emotional player?
The security of knowing that if I do mess up, I'm in good hands with Allstate. This guy is going to be...
Right.
It's 100% insurance. And Joe Flacco, as you mentioned, he's unflappable. And I mean, if this kid gets in trouble, which he's going to at times, I don't think you have to dump him in the bench and leave him there, but bring Joe in for a couple of plays to calm him down when that happens. And it's a win-win.
Right. Mm-hmm. Even if it's they want, and I don't personally like the 2 QB system. I mean, we've seen that with some teams of ours in the past.
Is this when we mentioned I had a tryout?
My dad had a CFL tryout back in 83?
81, 82.
81, 82 with Vinny Testaverde throwing your ball. Didn't he break your finger?
No, that was Tommy Clements.
Tommy Clements.
From Notre Dame.
Aaron Rodgers' old quarterback coach in Green Bay.
Not Notre Dame of Cleveland, I should say.
But yes, stud slot back wide receiver. The 2 quarterback system, I don't personally like it. I think it disrupts the momentum that someone can build because there's so much to be learned of playing poorly and then coming back. The way DTR played in quarters 3 and almost all the way through the 4th quarter. The fact that he strung it back together on that last drive when it mattered is that's a confidence builder. So I think you kind of have to go in with the idea that you are without a net, but you have a guy who's going to emotionally direct you through those low points.
With that said, I agree with you what you're saying, but if Stefanski does his job and he talks to DTR and lets him know this is in no way bearing on you, but it may be needed. Do not take offense to it, and know that this is a learning curve, and you're going to be right back in there. Which I don't want to see this flip flop in and out thing going on.
Right.
But if it has to happen, he can't melt down.
Right, absolutely. And I don't think he will, because he took it pretty well in the press conference. Like, they asked him, what do you think of bringing Joe Flacco in? Does that, like, bother you? And he was like, honestly, and his, like, kind of verbatim was like, it's more of a blessing than anything. Like,
Absolutely.
he's like, I already love Joe. I've been asking him questions. And you just, people want to talk smack about certain guys or whatever. It's like, first of all, the guy's a Super Bowl winner. And he's been around a great organization with stability, some of the greatest players. Like, even though he's an offensive player, like, he was around Ray Lewis and Ed Reed.
He's bringing him
every
a
day.
gift.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Big play here. Oh, almost a big one from Jordan Love. But people rushing to say, oh, Joe Flacco should be the starter. It's like, why would you take the wind out of a kid's sails like that after the biggest game of his young NFL career?
He did well for what he was, but it's like we're not talking about Joe Montana here. Like, people being like, put him in. I think you got to let DTR, see where the chips fall with DTR and how he does this, continue to let him play. And, if it's bad, obviously make a change. But I think it's his job to lose. And I think
100%.
I think people saying like Joe Flacco should start now, I think it's ridiculous because, again, it's like, what I was saying, it's like, it's not Joe Montana, it's Joe Flacco. Other thing about Flacco, he understands that the toughest division in football being the AFC North. Like, he played his whole career there, basically. So I think just having that experience, especially late in the season, when you really got to start grinding out those wins, and setting yourself up for a playoff push.
Plus, he's had bad moments that he bounced back from, which DTR is going to have.
For sure.
Absolutely.
So I think that's invaluable.
Absolutely. I do think it's like you got to find ways to get Cooper the ball early. And that's why because we were at the game. Like, we're sitting 35-yard line. Thank you for the tickets again. But I just thought the confidence that he threw, like those in-breaking routes, like those quick slants and stuff.
Especially when it was on the line.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, even like in the drive to close out the second quarter, like in the 2-minute drill that they did, they drove the ball really well. Like, he throws curls really well. He throws slants really well. And it will be great, I think, because, DeJuan Jones wasn't starting. So I think that affected two things. Like, first of all, their run blocking on first and second down. Like, James Hudson was kind of getting stalemated, but he's going against TJ Watt. So what can you expect? Yeah. So if DeJuan can play more and they can run the ball better on first down, like, they're going to be able to take some shots deep, hopefully, to Cooper, to Tillman, like, throw up those 50-50 balls. Then, too, let's talk about Njoku really quick. Because, Dad, you played receiver. I played receiver. I'm sure you went through a period where you had like some drops in a game, but you redeem yourself later on.
I think I had one drop in my career.
I was a scout team tight end.
But yeah, like, what do you think that mentality after a bad game, going into a game where you could go to 8-3, be tied for the division lead, basically going into that, like, where is your mindset at as a receiver after you just had a bad game? You redeemed yourself at the end, but you know that you got to be great early on for your young quarterback.
Njoku needs to put his big boy pants on and just learn from it. And he needs to live up to the potential. He's a big kid. He's strong. He needs to get a tougher edge, I believe, in him. A more consistent, tougher edge like he did in that play against Baltimore the week before. That's the guy we're looking for. And that's the guy he needs to be for this team. If I can say this, if he could just not worry about the camera and how he looks off the field, pay attention to the game, study more film, and somebody just needs to look him in the eye and say, you need to be the guy that we brought you in here for. Big, tough, strong, and more consistency on those hands. He had a bad day. Everybody has those. He'll get over it, but those are the things he needs to address. His mental toughness has to be more consistent.
He does deliver when it matters most. There was the 4th and 10 against Tampa.
He made up for it in that game.
Absolutely, with the catch on third down there. But absolutely, it's like it is a different. Like, you can be clutch, but also be hurting your team and yourself. Like, that's the thing. He finished the game with 5 catches. If he catches all of them, he has 10, 11 catches, over 100 yards, and he would have had a touchdown that he dropped. That's a big deal, and I was making the point in the last video that a great tight end is a young quarterback's best friend. That's why Lamar was so good. He had Mark Andrews.
Mark Bavaro back in the day for the Giants. to Phil Simms.
Oh, okay. Okay. There you go.
There you go. You're old. Is that real grass? Inside joke.
Okay, let's talk. Let's wrap this up with some predictions for the game. So 4:05 Sunday, playing the Broncos at Mile High. You got to account for some of those, the changes, the travel, whatnot. But DTR second start. Hopefully DeJuan's back and healthy. Denzel Ward will probably not be playing. So we're going to have another...
He's not playing?
Yeah, he hurt his shoulder. I think when he blew up Najee Harris on that big play, that's a big boy.
We lost the other guy. So we're two DBs short.
Yeah, Rodney McLeod's out. Some injuries still, but whatever. That's the season. That's what we're talking about on the channel all the time. It's like, this is a true team. They're built to help each other. And it's like, people preach next man up, but this is actually a next man up type of team. So... All those things considered, Dad, you start us off, score prediction.
We really haven't blown anybody out yet, and they're always in this tight game. So
Except Arizona, but it's
Arizona, yeah. I mean, what's his name was gone, their quarterback.
Kyler, yeah.
That helped us a lot. I'm going with a 28-14 win for the Browns.
28-14, okay. Cody?
I feel like our offense is still going to be kind of figuring it out with DTR, but I think with how strong our defense is, we'll kind of. I think it's going to be a barn burner a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a barn burner. I think it's going to be a close game, is what I'm trying to say. I think
We're going to come down to a field goal again.
I think it's going to be like 24-21, something like that. I think it's going to be the offenses. It could even be lower. I think the offenses are going to both be a little bit limited. I know Russ is hitting his stride, but I just think our defense is so dominant. But I think it'll be maybe even lower scoring.
24-21?
That's my official.
That's your official? Okay, I think I'm going to go. I think Myles Garrett is going to have like a signature game. Mike McGlinchey has been struggling as a tackle on the Broncos. Everyone wanted Garrett Bowles. I think this is going to be a kind of prove it moment where Myles Garrett's going to have such a good game that they're going to go, thank God we didn't pick up Garrett Bowles in free agency.
People are like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Another inside joke.
I think it will be tough because Sean Payton's a great coach. He'll always have his guys ready, like now that things are clicking and normal. But I'm going to go... I think it's higher scoring. I think DTR surprised some guys, hit some deeper shots, and we run the ball really well. I'm going to go 31-27. Wow. They win by 4, and Myles Garrett has a huge, huge game. So that's what I got. Any other bold predictions on the game that you want to call? An anytime scorer bet that somebody could put $1,000 on?
Who do I have scoring? I think Njoku is going to have a breakout game. He's going to recover. He's going to get 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
And we need to keep that ball going. We need to keep feeding Hunt. This is the kind of game you're going in the cold. It's starting to chill down in Denver, right?
Yeah.
You got to feed that kid the ball. He loves the ball, and he's a clutch player. Feed him the ball.
Okay.
The stars of the game are going to be Hunt, Njoku, and obviously DTR. Because he's going to get the ball to Njoku.
Okay.
I hate to say the exact same, but I kind of get that feeling too. Like I think Njoku's going to have a big day coming back. He should at least, and so I could definitely see. I see them giving it the rock to Kareem Hunt. In the short yardage. Goal line plays. So I definitely think he'll score, and I got Njoku as well.
I like the Njoku score, but to change it up, I think Cedric Tillman's finally going to get one. The big rookie, DTR's boy. I think that they're going to hit him on a deep fade ball. He's going to outjump a guy, so I like Tillman. And also, I think the Browns' defense is scoring. I could see Grant Delpit picking a ball off or recovering a fumble in the run game. I think
strip sack.
I think Russell Wilson's prone to be getting stripped. Maybe they blitz him, but the defense is going to score, and Cedric Tillman's going to score as well. I could also see DTR having a game where he gets over 50 yards rushing as well, just with how they've been running the ball.
Game plan it for him too. Like we saw those like kind of boot plays working for him.
Okay, so that was awesome. Thank you guys for doing this with me. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and this will be coming out before Sunday. Dad, where should they follow you? And I'll put this all in the description below so they can click on it.
Cleveland Food 25 for the best pasta in the United States.
Absolutely.
My YouTube is Cody Rico 23, CODYRICO 23. I do guitar covers. I'm hoping to come out with more music content, talking about my favorite bands. If you like The Smiths, The Cure, 80s new wave, the Clash, punk, all that stuff.
Okay, and make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter, aka X. But thank you guys so much for watching. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you later.
That was a complete flop. You were good, Lou.